Así le chicos a su esposo.
Alright, so hold on.
We don't talk about explosives.
Nervous system. We had this in term 1, right? But it was too long ago, so I guess we need to review that. Actually, there are 2 chapters that has something to do with nervous system. Chapter 9 is about the sensory organs, the eyes and the ears. But this one is just the brain and the other nervous organs. Okay, divisions of the nervous system. We have the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, the autonomic nervous system. So what are the parts of the central nervous system?
The spinal cord and the brain.
Just those 2, okay? The rest are peripheral. So any nerve outside of those 2 are going to be peripheral. And then there's a special division with special purpose division, and that's the autonomic nervous system. And what are the 2 parts of the
The
autonomic?
managing.
Autonomics. What are the 2 divisions of the autonomic nervous system? What's that?
Oh, sympathetic. That's, she gets it.
Sympathetic and parasympathetic, right? So we've been talking about that practically the entire year. So this is where it's going to be focused on, the autonomic nervous system. So here we have the central nervous system. You know, it's the brain and the spinal cord. Outside of it, outside the central nervous system is the peripheral nervous system, which would include the cranial nerves. How many cranial nerves are there?
12.
12, and these originate, of course, these originate from the brain. Then spinal nerves, how many?
I remember.
It's from the cervical down to the...
Yes. Lower.
32,
Lower.
24, 17.
16.
31. Okay, that's too many guesses. 31, it corresponds almost 1-to-1 to the number of vertebrae. So just look at this guy. Aren't I over this better looking?
Yeah.
This one has no face.
No face, no case.
Let's go switch.
The guy, I named him Alfred. He's very cool. I'm sorry about that.
Name is Jeff.
You just.
His name is Jeff. His
Um,
name is Jeff.
Jeff? Okay, Jeff. Okay. I was gonna call him Bruce.
Bruce.
You know, Bruce and Alfred.
Bruce Jenner?
Off of Finding Nemo. My name's Bruce.
Okay, these are the vertebrae, right? So take note that these like rounded fat end is on the front or the anterior side, right? And at the back or the posterior side are the spiny stuff, right? So you'll note that there are how many cervical, the neck part?
12.
The spinal, the vertebrae? How many?
12.
7.
7. Now this is where the difference is. There are seven segments of the cervical vertebrae, but there are 8 cranial nerves. No, 8 spinal nerves from here. That's why there's one more. The rest is 1-to-1 correspondence. So, how about the thoracic
12
segments? There are 12, corresponding to the 12 ribs, right? One, a pair of ribs connected to the thoracic vertebrae. There are 12, and then the lumbar.
7. Or 8.
5.
There are 5.
Oh, sure.
Okay, and then the sacrum is actually 5 segments fused into one bone. That's the sacrum. And the rudimentary tail, the coccyx, don't forget this.
You gotta shake that cup.
So there's also a spinal nerve coming out of the tail. So that leaves us with, instead of 7, we have cranial, we have 8, thoracic, we have 12, lumbar, we have 5, and sacral, we have 5, and coccyx, we have 1. That's a total of 31. 20, 25, 30, 31, right? That's pairs. So actually total is 62. Okay, so the actual answer to my original question was 31 pairs. Cranial nerve, 12 pairs. One on each side. All right. So these are considered as peripheral nerves because they go out of the cranium and they go outside of the central nervous system, although they're connected to either the brain, the cranial nerves are, and the spinal nerves are also connected to the spinal cord. That's why they're called spinal nerves. Now, within these two, the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves, exists the autonomic nervous system. Okay? Autonomic and actually somatic. So autonomic, what do you mean by auto? It's self or independent, right? So, or autonomic is for the automatic functions of the body. So, like your heartbeat, your peristalsis, okay, it's all autonomic, right? Even the urination. Part of the urination is involuntary, right? So you learn that part of it is voluntary, part of it is involuntary. So the involuntary part is also part of the autonomics. Somatic are the voluntary motor nerves. So when you are exercising, you want to lift like a 10-pound weight with your arm. Okay, so you flex it. You're doing biceps curls. That is a voluntary movement. So that is part of the somatic nervous system. And then also part of the cranial and spinal nerves are sensory nerves. They sense stuff. So basically, how many senses do we have?
7.
Okay, just name them, please. We have
Touch, taste, hearing, sight, sixth sense.
yeah, sure.
Hi, sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Smells
We are the one squatting in your room.
olfactory, optic, optics hearing,
Remove some of your stuff so that.
Oh, don't worry. I'm
Taste.
sorry, there's so much stuff there.
palpation,
Thank you.
tactile sense,
What's that?
for touch, right? Tactile.
Yeah, and they usually go together with pain. Remember we were talking about integumentary? Remember the Pacinian and the Meissner's corpuscles? So the touch is more superficial than the pressure, and the pain is even deeper, right? Because you need more pressure to feel pressure, right? And you go deeper even to feel the pain. No, the pain is all over. Maybe superficial. That's why I got a cut. I was trying to cook something, and when I was washing the knife, I nicked my finger. So it's very superficial. So it was painful. So you could feel the pain even superficially, right? Because the superficial pain sensory nerves are from superficial to deep. All right. Well, actually, with the skin, it goes up to the dermal level, but beyond that, there are no more. Because if you have a third-degree burn, for example, then it's less painful, right? Because all of the nerve endings are, remember that,
Burned away.
are destroyed. So everything now everything comes together here, right? So now you are very much prepared to understand this. Okay. Any questions? So, sensory nerves are part of it, and then the cells. The main cell was the main cell of the kidney, the nephron. In the nervous system is the neuron. Okay, neuron. I was asking about the kidney just to give you a curveball. And so there are three main parts. We have the cell body. So we have something like that, the cell body, and it has one long tail-like appendage. And there are certain branches here. So the cell body has a nucleus, right? And it has cytoplasm, okay? And the one long body is known as the axon. This one is known as the cell body. And these branches, shorter branches, are known as the dendrites. One is dendrite, plural is dendrites. Okay, so we have the dendrite cell body and axon. All right. Dendrites will receive. So it's the receivers, right? Like the antenna in your television system. So these will receive. The axon will transmit. Okay, it's the transmit to the next neuron. So these neurons communicate with each other, and they do it very quickly, like very, very, very quickly. Okay, now some of the neurons are going to be, okay, just remember, dendrites towards the cell body, because it's receiving, right? And axon away. A for away, like artery is away from the cell. This one is from the cell body. Artery is away from the heart, right? So axon is away from the cell body, and it goes to the next neuron. The next neuron, the dendrite will get the impulses, the neuron to neuron transmission. Now, the neurons could be sensory or could be motor. Sensory is when it's from a sensory nerve ending, and it takes it to the central nervous system, and then the other one going back to the effector cells, like the muscle, for example, or the tendon, for example, okay, where the action is going to be, will be the motor neurons. So afferent, sensory is afferent, motor is efferent. Now there's a third type known as the interneurons. So in a reflex arc, it could be a two neuron arc, or it could be a 3 neuron arc. If it's a 2 neuron arc, so we have it's two colors. We have the sensory or the afferent, and then it communicates directly with the efferent or the motor. Okay, goes to the muscle. In this one, from the sensory, I got it. From the sensory to the center. This is the sensor. The red one is the sensory. The black one is the motor or the efferent. Okay. Now, if there's sometimes a 3 neuron reflex, there's a third one. Connects the sensory and the motor neurons, and this is known as the interneuron. You understand? So that's the difference. So sensory is just sensing, motor is to provide or the action based on what is sensed, and that is our break. Okay, let's do a 10-minute break.